A very warm and pleasant good afternoon to one and all. Welcome all to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 2nd of March 2024. Okay, guys, in the today's agenda of the day, we'll be discussing an interesting editorial section which is coming from the Indian Express, where the Supreme Court terms women military officers 1988 discharge as illegal. So it's a very long due judgment that is coming up in the year 2024, and how courts have ruled for women in armed forces. Then, as per the schedule of our class, of our this today's session, we'll be discussing about some news update, and lastly, the legal news update of the day. Okay, so starting with the context of this particular editorial section, please guys remember that Supreme Court has directed the Ministry of Defense to pay rupees 60 lakh in compensation to the former permanent commissioned officer in the military nursing service, ruling she was wrongly released from service in 1988 on the grounds of her marriage. So what happened in the year 1988? A woman got married, and on the basis of that marriage status, she was discharged. And the case was there in the Supreme Court from 1988. And the Ministry of Defense has been directed by the Honorable Supreme Court to pay 60 lakh hefty compensation to that woman. Now, coming up to the bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Dipankar Datta said that the termination of employment was a coarse case of gender discrimination and inequality. So let us understand the case all about. So there was a permanent commission officer. The name of that particular woman officer was Lieutenant Selina John, who was employed in military nursing service and was released from employment in the year 1988 because of the fact that she got married. Now, this nursing service is an integral part of armed force medical services, which include medical corps and dental corps as well. Now, Selina John approached Armed Forces Tribunal, Lucknow bench, which called the termination illegal and directed her reinstatement with the back wages. However, central government moved to the Supreme Court to challenge this order of Union of India versus Lieutenant Selina John, and here, dismissing the center challenge, on February 14, Supreme Court has observed that the release from this particular service of Miss Selina John was absolutely illegal and wrong. The government has been directed to pay rupees 60 lakh to her within 8 weeks. Now, the court has rejected center's argument based on the rules in force at the time. The rule accepted was applicable to only women nursing officers. So the rule was terms and conditions of service for the grant of permanent commission in the military nursing service. Now, it governed the terms and conditions of the nursing service. Clause 2 dealt with the termination of an employment on certain grounds. This include being produced by medical board to be unfit for further service in the armed forces, getting married, misconduct, breach of contract if the services are found dissatisfactory. Okay, now this particular rule was withdrawn dated 29th of August 1995. Now let us understand what is the process of recruiting them. So the permanent commission in the Indian military means a career until the age of retirement, whereas short service commissions are for few years. In some SSCs, a few officers get to opt for permanent commission based on available vacancy. So in 1992, the Indian Army first allowed women officers to be inducted. They were commissioned for 5 years, like the Army Education Corps and Corps of Engineers. Recruitment was then done under the Women's Special Entry Scheme. It had shorter pre-commission training periods than those stipulated for men commissioned under the SSC scheme. Men were commissioned for 10-year periods, which could be extended up to 14 years. Okay. Now, how Supreme Court have reacted on this particular case and how it went. So in February 17, 2020, a bench of Supreme Court Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice Ajay Rastogi upheld the demand of women in the SSC, that is Secretary, Ministry of Defense and Babita Punia case. The court said that the seeking a permanent commission or a full-length career was absolutely justified by the women commissioner. Before the ruling, only male SSC officers could opt for permanent commission after 10 years of service. Hence, women could not qualify for a government pension, which is conferred only after 20 years of service as officers. With this particular decision, the Supreme Court brought women officers in 10 streams of the army on par with their male counterparts, setting aside long-standing objections of the government. Now, what happened in the Supreme Court decision from 2020 ruling, the army constituted the number of 5 selection board, directing the army to induct all eligible female officers as permanent commissioned officers. Here, women officers qualifying for the screening process will be granted PC status subject to being in acceptable medical category. However, Indian Express reported that while military nurses march in this year's Republic Parade, for the first time, they were still denied the status of ex-servicemen. Earlier this month, a division bench of Punjab and Haryana High Court ruled that nursing service officers cannot be denied ex-servicemen status under the Punjab recruitment of ex-servicemen rules. Under this, officers who were released from service on completion of their term with a gratuity are categorized as ex-servicemen. It noted that nursing service have been serving the nation, including in extremely difficult situation like unfavorable weather condition in high altitudes. So this was all about the historical background from where we started, where women were not even recognized as a permanent commission officers in army, and now we are here, where Supreme Court has taken a stand against a woman who was denied the service in the year 1988 due to the status of marriage. So please note down, it's a very important judgment coming from the Honorable Supreme Court, which it relates to the army and the defense as a whole. Now, coming up to the national news of the day, Leopard numbers show 8% rise from 2018 to 2022. So, the report has been released by the Ministry of Environment. The highest number of leopards were reported in Madhya Pradesh and then Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now, center clears 3 semiconductor plants with investment of rupees 1.26 lakh crore. So, what center has done? The center has approved the proposal to set up 3 semiconductor plants. Out of 3, 2 would be in Gujarat and 1 would be in Assam. India's first commercial semiconductor fabrication plant or fab unit will be set up by the joint venture between Tata Electronics and Taiwan Power Chip Semiconductor Manufacturing Corp of Dholara in Gujarat. So please understand, 3 semiconductor plant, 2 in Gujarat, 1 in Assam. PM Modi and Mauritian PM jointly inaugurate new airstrip and jetty. So both the heads of the government have inaugurated new airstrip and St. James jetty along with 6 community development projects at the Agalega Island in Mauritius. The inauguration of this project is significant as it follows the recent launch of UPI and RuPay card services in Mauritius. So the 2 countries are extending hands in many of the projects coming up in the market. Eminent archaeologist and Padma Shri awardee Arun Kumar dies at 91. So renowned archaeologist and Padma Shri awardee Arun Kumar Sharma, who had served as the archaeological advisor to the Chhattisgarh government and was one of the key witnesses in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, has died. His work has been collected archaeological evidences in support of existence of Lord Ram's temple at the disputed site of Ayodhya. So very not good news coming from the archaeological field. When it comes to important days, we talk about Zero Discrimination Day, which is observed every year on March 1st. Now, the history of this particular date has been after UNAIDS, a joint United Nations program on human immunodeficiency virus and acquired immune deficiency syndrome, launched its Zero Discrimination campaign on World AIDS Day in December 2019. Now, the theme of this particular year is to protect everyone's health, protect everyone's right. When it comes to international news, we talk about sports. World Cup champion Spain beats France 2-0 to win inaugural edition of Women's National League. So Spain has not lost momentum since winning its first World Cup title, defeating France by 2-0 to also win the inaugural edition of the Women's National League. Spain also holds the men's national title, having beaten Croatia in the final in June. Coming up to the legal update, coming from the Guwahati High Court, where the court stated that arbitration commences when arbitral tribunal is constituted. not when party gives receipt of claim. Okay, which is coming from the Guwahati High Court, where a single judge bench has held that commencement under Section 21 of the Act does not arise unless an arbitration tribunal is constituted. It held that the arbitration does not automatically commence when the other party gives receipt of the claim. Okay, and the case is coming from the case name called as MS Oil India Limited versus MS Badri Rai and Company. So it was all related to Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Now, Article 142 does not empower court to ignore substantive right of litigants. Supreme Court issue guideline on exercise of inherent powers. So very important judgment coming up, where the court has held that the Supreme Court issues crucial guidelines on the exercise of its powers under Article 142 of the Constitution. And courts say that it does not empower court to ignore substantive right of litigant. Here we have explained what is Article 142 of the Constitution and what are the guidelines on exercise of the inherent powers of the Honorable Supreme Court. Please note this judgment down. It is a very important judgment for judicial services aspirant. And the case name is High Court Bar Association Allahabad versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Now, guys, if you want to revise your previous TNA, then do attempt the link of the quiz that is mentioned in the description of this particular video. Guys, do like this video because it is free for you but helps us to grow and motivate us to upload the video every day. Please subscribe our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.